Saturday football is back here in the NFL as the Week 16 game between the Houston Texans and Kansas City Chiefs will take place this Saturday. My name is Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this fun matchup between CJ Stroud and the Texans versus Patrick Mahomes, potentially, and the Kansas City Chiefs. But before I get into that, we want to give a huge shout out to everybody that subscribed to the Tracy Take this year. We hit our goal of 6,000 subscribers for the channel, so we greatly appreciate it. This is your first time here, and if you haven't already and you like the content that we provide, hit that subscribe button, tackle that bell to get notified when new videos come out. Also, leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think will win this game and why. And Ryan, the reason why I said Patrick Mahomes potentially is obviously, as you probably have seen by now, Patrick Mahomes did suffer an ankle injury in the Week 15 game against the Cleveland Browns. Definitely have to monitor that. He is diagnosed right now as week to week. I believe he will probably play going into this game, and we're recording this Sunday night. So ankle injuries for him is not something that has been uncommon, especially in his career, and he has played through that, even the Super Bowl as well against Philadelphia Eagles. But in general, though, and I could also say this too about the Houston Texans offense, because I feel like this offense definitely struggled today as well against the Miami team. But I know the Texans got up 21-0. Sorry, the Chiefs got up 21-0 against them, but it didn't feel like an overall great offensive performance. It was a very weird game. Anytime a team gives you 6 turnovers, it's just odd to begin with.
I think it was only. Well, I say only. I think it was 5.
No, it was 6. Yeah, they had 2 fumbles.
Oh, yeah.
4 interceptions thrown.
Oh,
yeah.
Geez.
So there was a muff punt.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Punt, touchdown, the punt doesn't matter. It was 6 turnovers. ESPN says it. If we're wrong, ESPN's wrong. So, but no, it was 6. It actually was a muff punt. I see it here now.
Okay. That was my big takeaway, and I will even say the same thing for the Texans here. When a team is giving you multiple plus points in the turnover category, you should be dominating that team. And I would say the Chiefs were dominant in the definition of the words. Like I was never questioning that the Browns were going to come back and win this game. And I know the Dolphins had the ball and were driving to tie it. I still was never really questioning that, at least Houston was the better team that day. But I still, with going back to the Chiefs and just some of the offensive struggles that they've had all year, they have not been able to protect Mahomes all year. They have not been able to consistently move the ball and put up points all year. They are one of 4 teams in the NFL that have not put up 30 points this year. And I think the other teams are the Patriots, the Raiders, and
they did put up 30 points this year, though. They put up 30 against Carolina. They kicked the game-winning field goal.
Scored more than 30 points.
And the Buccaneers, actually, too.
Okay, so scored more than 30 points in a game, and it's really bad. They've gotten 230, but never over. And they're just this offense is really struggling. Mahomes, I don't want to say finally got hurt because that makes it sound like I'm relieved that it finally happened. But he's been living life on the edge for multiple weeks now, and it has finally resulted in him actually suffering an injury.
Well, so let's talk about it more though in an overarching scheme as well. And this is going to be kind of what this game comes down to. Is who can protect their quarterback, because we're talking about Kansas City. Yeah. We could be saying the same thing about Houston, though.
No,
Houston has really struggled with their offensive line as well. Yeah. If we go and look at this, Houston has given up 46 sacks on the season, ranked 29th overall in the league. Kansas City, I'm surprised this number is not higher. I think it goes more to how evasive Patrick Mahomes is and his improvisation skills. But they've only given up 35 sacks. It feels like a lot more, and so they're slightly below average.
Well, they only gave up 0 sacks today to Cleveland, but I felt like he was getting hit every other play.
Oh yeah, I agree completely with that. And so then this is what's going to be interesting. Houston Texans defensively have 45 sacks on the season. They're 2nd overall, while Kansas City Chiefs, they have 32 sacks on the season, so 19th overall. But 32 still decent bit, 2 a game. A little over 2 a game overall up to this point in the season. I still think it's pretty good. It's slightly below average, but to me, I mean, also I'm a Falcons fan, so I think we're last in sacks. So I'll take whatever. At 32 sounds amazing to me. But I still think, though, too, this Kansas City Chiefs defensive front is going to terrorize. I think that this Texans offensive line, I think it's going to be vice versa as well, but in a totally different way. I think for the Chiefs, it's going to be Chris Jones really eating the way. Really leading the way, and you got other good guys as well, like George Karlaftis and everything on the Chiefs defensive end. Well, it's totally opposite, I feel, for the Houston Texans. You're going to have Will Anderson, you're going to have Daniil Hunter. They don't have as much defensive interior pressure as well. I think that's going to be something that they address in the draft, something we'll talk a lot about in the offseason. But those guys, I think, are going to terrorize the tackles for the Chiefs, as it's been well documented throughout the season how the Chiefs have been having offensive tackle issues this entire time. So if it's Patrick Mahomes that goes, they are going to have to find a way to stop Will Anderson, to stop Daniil Hunter, to stop this defensive pass rush from Houston Texans. And on the flip side, too, this Houston Texans interior is going to have to somehow stop Chris Jones and this defensive front as well. I would not be surprised if there is some type of bet or anything like that. Would not be surprised. Like I would do like over under like 8 total sacks on the day, like just total.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I feel there's going to be multiple from Kansas City just getting after CJ Stroud, and then the same as well too with Patrick Mahomes. Definitely 8 over sacks with Carson Wentz is the quarterback that's back there. I think that's going to be very interesting if he runs this offense, but he is much more of a statue when it comes to moving in the pocket and outside the pocket compared to Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, no, exactly. And he's also, this offense has been relatively turnover prone considering the standard that they've set over the past few years. If Carson Wentz comes in, I feel like that number, or like the chance of having multiple turnovers, only goes up because Houston hasn't done a great job of necessarily protecting the ball either. And so I feel like if you put those two in the same game, there's going to be a lot of sacks and a lot of turnovers. This is going to be a really sloppy game, which is crazy when you talk about, like, these are two teams that we expect to be like late playoff contenders in the AFC right now.
Well, so sloppy is a word you could say. I think another way look at it is I really respect and admire both of these coaching staffs as well. And so I think another way you could look at it is these coaching staffs are getting the maximum with the potential that is out on the field. Because admittedly, I think even if you're Chiefs fans, this is not the offense that you want to have out on the field yet. That their offense plays as best they can to their strengths, and at the same time, their defense knows this, and Steve Spagnuolo, for example, does a great job complimenting them to help keep giving them opportunities and keeping points off the board. On the flip side, too, for Houston, DeMeco Ryans' defense is doing a phenomenal job keeping this Texas offense in games. And Bobby Slowick and CJ Stroud, they're doing the best they can with the weapons that they have, with the offensive line that they have, to set up opportunities to go down and score. It is nowhere near as proficient or prolific as it was last year for the Texans. Same thing for the Chiefs, and especially then too the year prior as well with that Chiefs offense, which was just ridiculous. So I think with many other coaching staffs, both of these teams would be sub 500 teams or whatnot. But these coaching staffs, I think, are setting their teams up for success. And so sloppy might not be that would be the word that I would use. I think it's going to be
implies a lot of penalties and like just uncut football. Yeah, I think
this is going to be. It's already football is very a strategic game, but the strategic is the one that comes to my mind because it's like I'm looking at it the way how I said it earlier. Like the Chiefs are going to be like, okay, we need to somehow stop Will Anderson and these edge rushers. So like maybe we need a tight end on that side or have checked out help. But now there's one less guy that can go out for routes. So how are we going to be able to score and move the ball down the field? And that's what the Chiefs have been doing all year because they have been struggling with their offensive line and struggling with their weapons. So I think it's just going to be another game for them. Same thing then too with Houston as well. It's going to be on Saturday. It's going to be a shortened week. I think this is going to be a very fascinating matchup overall. Potential playoff preview as well, as the Chiefs are one win away from locking up home field advantage
No, I believe the Bills have 3 losses.
Bills have 3 losses, so they're
And
13-1.
the tiebreaker. So even if they win,
That makes sense.
the Chiefs
So
have to
they need to win one
out.
more. So very
Yeah.
close to locking up home field. So speaking of home field, I'm up 10 games as of right now, but we disagree on Sunday night, which looks like you're probably going to win this game as well. So let's say 9 games when this video comes out. So I will go first on this one. This is contingent if Mahomes plays, but I'm going to go with Mahomes in this one. I think it's at Arrowhead. Said by Mahomes, I obviously mean the home team,
Chiefs.
the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It's at Arrowhead. They have found ways to win against solid defenses. I also think, too, I don't know if I trust this Texans offense as well. They only had like 180 total yards of offense today against this Miami, 181 total yards of offense, only 77 offensive rushing yards today. And this Chiefs team is fifth in overall in total yards allowed, 13th in passing, third in rushing yards allowed. So I expect a similar type of stat outcome. And this isn't really too much of an outlier for this. This is kind of a pretty serious outlier overall, like being sub 200. But they've done that earlier in the year. They had 326, only 326 before their bye against Jacksonville, only 260 against the Tennessee. They had 391 against Dallas. That's not bad. 248 against Detroit. So they going all the way back to week 10. So I think it's going to be tough for Houston to move the ball against this Chiefs defense. And I think the Chiefs are going to do just enough to score. This is going to be a low scoring game. I would not be surprised if the under is like honestly under 35. If I'm being completely honest. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs here in a low one, 17-10.
Okay. I'm going to go, you kind of mentioned it. I'm down 9 in our season-long competition. I'm going to go with the Texans. I don't think either team is playing good football at the moment. I just think that, the Chiefs have been uber lucky in one-score matchups this year. And I feel like at a certain point, that record has to kind of come to an end. They can't keep finding ways to win 16-14 or 19-17. Like, eventually, I think one of these teams has to beat them. And I think the Texans can do it. The Texans, while not the most productive on offense, have pretty consistently been scoring about 20 points. And to me, I don't know if the Chiefs can get there even if Mahomes plays, especially with how good this pass rush is for the Texans. And so, I really think looking at this matchup, I think Houston has the upper hand, even though they are on the road. So I'm gonna go with Houston. It's definitely I think, less likely pick, but especially with a banged up Mahomes, he's going to be less mobile than he is on a normal week, and this is still a top pass rush in the league with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, and so I think that, similar to what we were talking about in the Denver Chargers game. If you haven't seen that video for Thursday Night Football, go check it out. But similar to that game, I feel like D'Amico Ryans might just say F it and be like, all right, we're blitzing on 70% of the snaps. And if they beat us off the line, then good for them. But we're playing 8 guys in the box and we're sending guys most of the time.
Yeah.
And to me, I think that would alter the Chiefs' game plan, I think, even more conservative than it already has been on offense, because at this point in the season, they are in that Chargers game, they almost strictly went to 3-step drops for Mahomes just because he could barely get the ball out in that amount of time, let alone run anything more. So I just think I don't say it's time for the Chiefs, but I think the luck can kind of run out here.
Potentially so, yeah. And they've got a tough final 3 games of the season as well. So you got this game on Saturday night, and Wednesday on Christmas Day at Pittsburgh, which essentially that's just a Thursday night football game. It's the same amount of time. And then at Denver in week 18.
That's an awful slate for the Chiefs, because you have one of the best pass rushes this week, one of the best pass rushes 5 days later.
Well,
and then another.
Potentially, though, I have to see what happens with TJ Watt. He went down with a foot injury. So maybe it's nothing,
fair.
but it could potentially be something. But then Denver as well. to wrap up that schedule, and they have a top defense, and honestly should have beat the Chiefs earlier on in the season. So Houston, on the other hand, though, to wrap up, so they have at Kansas City, then they host Baltimore, super tough game with Christmas Day, and then probably their toughest game, a Will Levis, Mason Rudolph quarterback-led Tennessee Titans Week 18 game, probably the toughest of all of them. Who knows how many points the Titans are going to put up on this Texans defense? I'd say that, though, they did beat the Texans a couple weeks ago. So I say that jokingly, but they did not have a good game today. So all is potential for revenge for the Texans. But, yeah, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be fun watching football on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. No, it's going to be a lot of fun. I love this time of year. You get football all throughout the week. So let's go ahead. Well, granted, you have college, but you get NFL football.
Yeah, the playoffs that day, too, actually, at the same time.
I know.
Had to do the multi-view for whatever quarterfinal game's going on.
Multiple TVs. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. Let's wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Will it be the Houston Texans? Will it be the Kansas City Chiefs? Other than that, we'll see you guys next time.